welcome to Decoding the Process. We are glad to have you here again. It's always an amazing Tuesday night where we get to engage in real matters in this place, and we get to discuss a number of these things that affect us, especially in relationships, because we just want us to have the best, and because most of us find most of our lives in relationships. We want you to enjoy the best you can in this level of life. So I'm glad to have my fellow friend here who will introduce himself, then we can delve into the amazing topic we have today. Karibu sana.
Okay, Nduga Prince, and we are great to have you again. We are back to Decode. We are back to help us. We want to have healthy relationships. We want people to move on well before people get into marriage. We want to give them the best, the very best. The mistakes that we made, we don't want anybody to repeat them.
Thank you very much, Prince. Thank you very much, Prince. Thank you for saying that. Today, as usual, we start with a quote. And because we're talking about a major thing, we've been trying to bring major issues on relationships to help you see light in things that probably are not mentioned quite often. But today we want to talk about successful relationships. How can we build relationships that are very successful? We have not been trying to say that we cannot have successful relationships or it is very difficult to build them, but we're trying to say that there are very important aspects that are very required for you to be able to build a healthy and successful relationship from time to age, season after season, for you to build it. And this is the quote for us today. Marriage or relationships is like an omelette. It is only as good as the eggs used to make that omelette. So we are going to discuss a few of these things that will make us become and find the right egg for the best omelette. So karibu sana, Prince. I would love you to delve into this topic whereby we'll be discussing successful relationships, and I want you to quickly give us a short overview of how can we be able to give and build relationships that are very successful. Then we'll be able to delve deeper together.
All right. A relationship, as we've always said, is a process, and this process involves two people. And as you've said that we're talking about a successful relationship. Whenever we talk about something being successful, means that something can fail to be successful. That means that we can fail, and we have experienced, we have noted people failing, we have noted people failing to achieve what they expected in a relationship. And hapa ndio inaleta my ex wengi. I was talking, as I was thinking about this topic, I was talking to a person that shared with me, ananiambia, nilimuuliza tu swali, nikamuuliza she is married, nikamuuliza uko na ex, akaniuliza nikuuliza. She was like she has so many exes. Akona na my ex wengi sana. So I was like, how did you make all these exes? Akaniambia probably from the one go I didn't know what I wanted in others. I had a very unrealistic expectation. So I tried to get a lot of also much from them simply because whenever you have failed, I usually keep on saying that every time a person fails, so what we are basically saying is that every time a person fails in a relationship, that is not failure. Actually, there is a lesson that they have learned that will help you to be able, help them to handle another problem when it comes their way. But it's not always good. Kukua na my ex wengi is good to get the information and good information and right on good time. So that now this information will help you to be able to handle a relationship. So some people are just getting into relationships when they are not prepared. And you find that when they get into relationships, they are the faster they start them, and then within a short duration, then they don't survive. So some of the reasons, because these are like a secret. We have been able, these are things we have gone through. We are still watching people are going through relationships, people that are failing. So we are still studying and trying to see what usually brings about, what makes people not to survive in relationship. What brings about the ex? Nini uleta ex? Is it not is it a must mtu akuwe na ex, ama mtu anaweza pata mtu mmoja na mpendane with with everything when you are well set with the right information. One of the things that I always talk about basically in any relationship, or one of the secret to a good relationship is to have that is I talk about expectations. You need to carry on with the right expectation. That is, don't I usually talk over, don't correct a person in a relationship. You know, come the way you are, and don't fake trying to be someone else, to putting a lot of makeup in the relationship. When you come into a relationship, come the way you are. You know, be the person that you are created to be. Don't try to be another person. Be yourself. Present yourself like you are, like the way you've been created, and let the other person accept you the way you are, because it's all about acceptance. When somebody understands that this person is like this, then they can be able to cope up, they can be able to walk around with them. So basically, most of the people, when they are getting into relationships, there are so many things that they are missing on the expectations. And still on expectations, I talk about purpose. What is the purpose of this relationship? Where do you want it to end to? Kama ni ya sex, ikimaliza sex, it has met the purpose. But now, if this is a relationship, for example, for instance, we talk about a relationship that should lead into marriage. So if you're talking about a relationship that will lead into marriage, then people have goals. I usually talk over, let people set goals together. That is, when you talk of setting goals together, is having a common focus. That is, are you preparing something together? Are you ready to work together? Are you ready to put your dreams together so that you can have a common focus? Can you prepare something that you will do at 10 years? You are preparing something that one day we will get married, that one day we will have children, that one day we shall have money, that one day we shall have this and the other. That is, you have a common focus. When people put a common focus, these are some of the things that usually help people to be able to handle or move well in a relationship. I also talk about spending time together, because human beings, we are created very different, and each one of us is very unique in their own way. None of us is is a duplicate of the other. Sometimes we talk over, we have a DNA of our parents, but we don't we are not a replica of our parents. So that tells you that whenever we are talking about being a person that is very different in their own way, then you need to spend time together. So in a relationship, you need to learn the other person. You need, hata kama ni kustande umsome, kama kuna Kiswahili kama usome yule mtu mwenye mko na yeye, and you can never stand a person if you're not taking time with them. So you need to take some good time with the person. Create time, however busy you are. Relationships zinaharibika kwa sababu people are very busy in jobs, people are very busy in books, people are very busy on research, people are very busy making money. So you find that they have no time for relationship. Create time for your relationship. Sit together, because that is what gives you a good platform to be able to study about the other person, to be able to tell that this person loves this and hates this. Then create room for mistakes. Create room for mistakes. Kukosana is very important, because you will know that this person does not love this. So now next time you'll be able to avoid it. So whenever you take time together, you'll be able to study each other and learn the mistakes that you would have made probably in future or in days to come. So people, when they work together, when people are taking time together, because I usually talk about time and space. When people have a lot of time and a space together, they are standing each other, they'll be able to realize so much about the other person.
Yeah, so thank you. You've really mentioned so many things, and I believe we are still keeping in touch with that. And I want us to really dissect into the major word called compatibility. You know, people have really gotten into this discussion of you have to be compatible, it is about complementing, not competing, but people haven't really understood what compatibility is. You know, from my side, compatibility would maybe be just thinking alike, not being alike. You know, compatibility is not because I am this personality, now I marry this person who is looking exactly like me. That's not compatibility. Compatibility is exactly just coming in with your strengths and your weaknesses and synchronizing those two things. As in, how will I use your different strength that is different from mine, and we come together to achieve the common goals we have. we're not saying that you look for somebody who looks like you. Because I'm light skin, I need a light skin. Because I'm dark skin, I need a dark skin. Or rather, because I, especially the people in church, because I preach, I need a fellow preacher. Because actually it's better if you're a preacher, you find a singer. Because when you're preaching, somebody can sing. So compatibility is not likeness, but being able to synchronize your differences to think alike and achieve your common goal. Basically saying, just like we gave an illustration where these hands fit in these spaces. Your strengths counter my weaknesses, and we become one strong, combination. So begin to be very wise, because most of us are becoming very much rushing into relationships. And for me, the foundational aspect that I would want to deal with is yourself. Have you prepared yourself enough, built your capacity enough to really be able to handle relationships? My friends, I want to emphasize something. When somebody proposes to you today, please cry.
Yeah.
Please cry. No shouting, no laughing. Let me tell you, the responsibility that awaits is not worth celebrating the way people celebrate.
You should smile.
People dance in weddings. I'm like, funerals, people should dance. In weddings, people should cry. Funerals, people have been promoted to glory. Now, here in weddings, you know what happens? You're being taken to responsibility and ministry. Okay, I'm not saying...
it is sweet.
It is sweet. We're not saying that you should not rejoice.
It is nice.
We're just telling you, have both aspects. Don't be overjoyed, and then you begin not preparing for what is awaiting for you. Because marriage is a place of responsibility. It's not a place of just, feeling that you're joyful or anything all the time. That is a part of marriage, as long as you're responsible enough to make sure every circumstances brings joy. Joy doesn't come so natural. It's something that comes automatically because now I have a spouse, so it is equals to happiness. No, it's equals to work. It's equals to a lot of responsibility, of understanding. You think just because you married somebody, that person, for instance, if it is your husband or your wife, had 2 hours of traffic in the morning, has been harassed back at work. In the evening, another 2 hours of traffic. Do you expect that person to be coming, smiling home the whole, saying, "Oh my dear"? Oh no, they are coming home tired.
They need a massage.
So that means, yes, they need all those kinds of services.
And the sweet ones.
That means you're coming into a place of responsibility. Not even physically, just physically. Talking about even emotionally. There are times things will be so down. Talking about spiritually, there's a lot of responsibility in marriage, because one day you'll have children. Will you stand in the gap for them to become the best they can be? So imagine the responsibility that is ahead of you. Are you preparing for it, or are you just waiting for somebody to come? We are all so absorbed in the issue of waiting for that person, we forget ourselves. And the most foundational aspect is building yourselves, because just like our quote says, it's only as good as those two people who come together. So if you're not going to be the best version of yourself, then expect that things are going to be a bit difficult when you get there, because you're not used to your single self, you're not used to yourself. You can't even stabilize your emotions, your thoughts when it comes to very bad situations. Can you even think through rationally and begin to come up with very, very strategic solutions to any circumstance? So understand that all these things are very important in terms of preparing, and the most the best preparation could be preparing your personal self. Build yourself up to be strong enough to be able to accomplish, or rather to get the best result when you get into marriage. So preparedness is very, very important.
On whatever you are saying is very true, and it's something that I've experienced with different people. And on compatibility, there is still something that is still sinking in me, and telling me that this is all we need. We need people that that are compatible. We need people that this one is like this other one is like this. Then they come together. This one has these weaknesses. This one has these strengths. So when they come together, they bring something very, very strong. So the moment we have a person that is when people are the same, actually they are likely to differ more, and bring a bit of I would put it like a kind of competition. But when people are into different things, then they come together. I think that is one of the most strongest part in the compatibility factor.
And of course, you begin to explore different grounds. You don't just have to be in the same area the whole of your life. When you you get married to somebody who's very different, you begin to see things in a different way. You begin to expand your mind, because actually maybe this area you're not so good at it, but because you want to help your spouse, you begin building yourself in it, and you realize it's not very hard, and you help each other towards growing into that area. So it's very, very fun exploring new things with new people. And of course, as long as the main things that we are talking about that you have to be very same are values and character. You know, you can't marry somebody, you're not talking about now you get somebody of a very different character to go and start exploring those things. Character and values should be very, very well aligned. Those ones, my values, if I respect the fact that we are married to one another and it's a holy union, somebody should respect it the same way as you do. And even as your religious ideas come together, so that you cannot really conflict on the very, very foundational aspects. But in terms of personalities and every other thing, there is no difference in terms of differing in that. So
still on respect, and I respect, I'm still moving or getting into some more of trust. That is, you have to trust you. Okay, there is nothing like saying that I don't trust a person. You live with a person, or you trust a person so that you can know you trust them. And now that we are also a Christian based, or we are talking of people that are headed somewhere through the right channel, I talk of prayer. Prayer is very important. Even before you get into any relationship, you want to get into a relationship committed before the Lord. Sometimes God helps you to be able to see things clearly. So it's also significant that people engage into prayer, people commit their relationship. Sio lazima ati wakati unataka kuolewa, hata mtu umeona hivi, umesikia roho yako ukimuona inarukaruka, unaomba, unasema Mungu, yule mtu kama nitaenda kumuongelesha, you see that kind of a thing, it will involve God. Let God be involved, so that now you don't make so many mistakes.
Yes, that even helps you beyond your weaknesses and strengths to build things that are very, very understandable between the two of you. He is a very, very big spiritual force that brings, and it's like the force that brings you together, the magnetic force. Without him, there's a lot of work for you to do. So it's good to really involve God in every of these things you do. I wanted to ask you, in terms of successful relationships, is love important? Like, do we really feel like, most of us nowadays look for this person you feel very emotionally attracted to. That is the person who you feel you will live well together. People are up to feelings so much, and they feel the only way I can, they will tell you, this person looks the best for me, but I'm not feeling like attracted to them. So it seems so many people are after the way they are connected, maybe in terms of chemistry.
Okay, in the issue of relationship, there are two things that are involved in most cases, especially with the way people are, or the way people have grown, and it all begins by attraction. It all begins by attraction. That is, a person is attracted to another, and then the moment you are attracted to them, then you feel that you can bring out something out of the other person. And one day we'll talk about love and lust, because now sometimes you are moved more by the things that you see. You don't listen to yourself. You don't take time to study. You don't take time to think, what do I want in life? And that's why still on what we are delving into, that is on good, working on a healthy relationship. I also talk about where you realize that you don't take some good time, and you get into issues of relationships when you are not mature enough. Immaturity actually is a factor that has made so many relationship not to work. So at a certain age, most of the people, they have gotten into lust and not love. So you find that you have just gotten attracted to a person because of the nice physical features, probably that they have, or something that they did, and that is something that you love. So you are moved more by the person. That is the force of attraction is not love, but lust. Simply because some of them are not of age. Hata hujafikisha miaka ya kupendwa, lakini unataka kupendwa. You see, so those are the kind of relationship. Now ndio wale watu unasikia wako na maex wengi, kuna ex kama 7 na hata bado hajapatikana na mtu mzuri. You see, so it will also depend with the age. It will
Yeah.
depend, but the key one is maturity. It will
Yeah.
depend with the level of maturity.
Yeah.
That I know what I want. I know what I am going for. That is
Because-
what will even increase the compatibility
Yeah.
factor. That is to be able to attach and get connected to the other person.
Because maturity is very important.
Yeah.
Being able to handle another human being successfully requires a lot of maturity. Remember, even sometimes you as a person, it's very difficult to really handle some of the situations alone.
Somebody who cannot even handle themselves.
Yes.
You know, and they
Don't even
expect them
think-
other people to handle
Don't
them.
even think you should have somebody else in your life, because you should first put yourself in order.
Yeah.
So when this person comes, they know where is what, this is, every other thing. We're not telling you to be so perfect. We're just trying to tell you, be close to the best you can be, and begin to exhibit some of, balance,
Yeah.
stability in so many things, so that when you get into a relationship, because there are so many instances that will really test your maturity, in all areas, from emotional to, intelligence. I'm not saying you have to be very intelligent, but for you to be able to think through something successfully without having to really go through a long process, isn't it?
Yeah.
So maturity is very, very important, because understanding somebody might not be easy. Synchronizing your gifts and maybe even your different skills is not easy. You need a lot of maturity.
Yeah.
And it's just another process where you need to take yourself through and give yourself time to grow into that. For me, in terms of love, I'd love to probably define it this way, that love is different from chemistry. Chemistry is important, I don't deny. You'll always want to even feel attracted to anyone who you choose to spend your life with, or rather relate with.
Yeah.
So for me, love basically is expressed in action. Love is basically the decision for you to treat this person the way you're supposed to treat them,
Yeah.
in a respectful way. Because if I love you and I respect you, there are things, even without your presence, I will do because of love. And love is not basically me really feeling something good about you. Actually, I realized the more that chemistry is,
Yeah.
the intimacy is even less. The day you don't feel it quite well, actually intimacy is deeper at that particular stage.
Yeah.
Because you're there because of other reasons, and that means you have built your intimacy to a level where emotions don't have to make you make the right decisions.
Yeah.
So love is basically making a decision to do the right thing, even if it is not feeling so good at that particular moment, because there are many times things will not feel good for you to do. Sometimes you will feel like, no, they did this, I should do this. No, the best thing in love is to counter evil with good. There is no day you can counter evil with evil. If you really want the best to come out of somebody, always repay any evil, or rather any bad thing with a good thing. It will always burn their hearts.
Yeah.
So the best thing about love is just you learn how to do good things, to love them despite of who they are, despite of their weaknesses, despite of even what they do. But for me, in relationships, I believe love doesn't keep marriages or even relationships, because I've had so many people say, I'm leaving this person, but they are very deeply in love. Somebody you've stayed with for over 10 years, and you realize you have a very deep connection together. For you having spent all those years with that kind of person, you still love one another. But what keeps marriage and relationships? I believe it's knowledge and wisdom. If you don't have the wisdom and the knowledge to really, skew through these highs and lows of relationships, you will never keep that. Because, for instance, right now, I love aeroplanes. But the fact that I love aeroplanes, my love will never make them fly. I need knowledge to be able to ensure I can fly this aeroplane. Even if it's a car, we love cars, all of us. From when we are young, we admire people who drive cars. But we can't drive them until we get the skill.
Yeah.
And I feel the same applies to anything, even marriage. Even if you love this person, but you don't know the way to treat them and to make sure, like even the knowledge in handling a conflict when it comes, the knowledge in knowing this is how women are and I'm supposed to understand their nature. The moment I understand this is how men are and expressing love to them is respect, then you begin to understand the dynamics of how to express the emotional kind of love you feel to a tangible kind of love in terms of knowledge. So for me, if you really want to keep, or rather even all of us outside, if you really want to keep relationships, go beyond love. Love is very important, but begin to know what is the wisdom that I need to apply for this love to feel tangible in anyone's life.
whatever you are saying and all that you are putting across is they are very paramount ingredients for a good and a healthy relationship, because I'm also provoked into thinking that some people don't even understand what is romance. Why am I into this? You don't know what you should do to the other person that they so that they can feel appreciated, so that they can feel I am part of this, so that they can feel this person recognizes me in this relationship. So I think knowledge is key. And because some people not have, they don't take time, about other people. They don't take time to find out what they need from the other person. Some people, they have no idea. They are building it from what they have heard from other people. And that's why you find that because other people also did not succeed, then you end up not succeeding as well.
Yeah. So it's important for you to really note these important aspects. And above love, there are so many other things that are very important. We also talk about building friendship. Friendship is like the foundational glue to any relationship, because beyond love, you can't be laughing. People think that when you get into a relationship or marriage one day, they think, we will be having romance all day. You can't. Even your physical kind of energy won't allow you. If 1 hour is for romance, 1 hour is for devotion, 2 hours is for work, as in, what will you be doing the rest of the day? If you're not friends, you won't have anything to do, and that will really destroy your relationship. So if you're friends, at least beyond lovey-dovey things, there's so much you can do, and your life goes on. For instance, the way you even you can stay with your friend a whole day laughing. The same way, for me, I prefer, if you're really choosing a mate, one day, one time, don't pick somebody and then start making them your friend. Among your good friends, why don't you think of who can be now the best mate? Now, you don't have to start building the friendship from afresh. You just picked somebody you love. And even if si lazima akue hapo, so maybe somebody one day, one time, you will have built some good foundational friendship. Then from there, you can proceed into the next level. At least have something that is not like built from a very, very, practiced, I want to know you, so now you're beginning to build friendship. Something that grew naturally, and now it's going to the next stage. That's the best way.
Amos, the book of Amos 3:3 says that two people cannot work together unless they agree. The key thing on agreement is being friends. That tells you that when Amos is writing this book, he's trying to tell us that people must, be speaking one language. People must understand each other. People must, be connected in one way or the other, so that they can be able to move together. And that's why he says that two cannot move together unless they agree. And a great man one time was saying that a good relationship is made up of teammates, because teammates are people that are scoring on one side. They are not opponent, they are proponent. They are people that are taking the ball to the same direction. They are fighting a common battle. They are facing the same enemies. So those are friends. If you're not facing the same enemies, that means that you are opponent. And the moment you are opponent, you cannot be good players. You cannot form a good teammate. So in any relationship, people must you must be a teammate, because you are scoring at the same place. You are heading to the same place. You are one person's victory is the other person's victory. The other person's joy is the other person. It becomes also the other partner's joy. So people, when in any relationship, people must be, they must be teammates. As Amos says, they cannot move together unless they agree. It is that agreement, speaking one language of love, acquiring knowledge together, taking the same direction. We are headed this direction. So they disagree to agree, rather.
Yeah. And I think even as we conclude, I think there are very, very many important aspects, but we are really thinking about the foundational aspects that will really help us build relationships, and those are very, very general. I would love to probably we wanted to really delve into the flip side of this. How do people actually now fail in relationships? But I'm thinking we can now delve deeper into that, because it's a very, very deep topic as well in the next show. But at this point, we can finalize on building successful relationships. For me, I think I have 3 C's that have been very practical in my life. The first one is being creative. You have to be creative. Don't think that things will always come natural between you and your spouse. You have to be creative. How do you do things? You can't do things the same way every time. This will not always have the spark in you. Yeah. For instance, if you are a guy out there, you can't just be you buy a gift and then you just go and tell them, I've just bought you this one today. It doesn't appear so good as you would have done. Like, you probably wrap it so well. You don't even need to wrap it. Just take it. If you bought a phone, ensure you just find a good moment to just put it in her handbag, and then she will find it by surprise. How you do things makes a lot of sense compared to just doing it. You have invested a lot, but I wouldn't see that sense because you didn't present it in the best manner.
Yes.
So sometimes trying to be creative in what you do, thinking through how do you get to your spouse, because you're the one who understands them. Just be very creative, and you'll always see the spark redeveloping and your bond growing deeper and deeper every day. The other thing is, of course, commitment. The moment you get committed to this person, you will always enjoy what you're sharing together. For me, I've always believed that the reward of commitment is intimacy. If you cannot commit to anyone, you will never enjoy intimacy.
Yeah.
The best way to enjoy the love you feel is not to enjoy love from one person to the next, to the other, to this one. It is enjoying love in one person. When you keep on loving one person consistently, you begin enjoying the value of intimacy in your lives. The other one and the last one is consistency. If you begin to be consistent in your actions, don't think that because I loved her yesterday, it's enough for the week. God provided manna every day, and what he tries to bring to our minds is we live at the present moment. Not because you did something yesterday, she doesn't deserve something tomorrow. Love is constant. It's a new day, it's a new week, it's a new month. Keep on showing love to this person as long as you can. Seasons are different and we are human beings. But if you have the ability, why don't you just tell this person, I love you? We always say that tell them as long as they last. And it's true. One day it will hit you personally and you realize you would have wished to tell somebody you love them so very much. So that is my parting shot as we conclude. Probably you can give yours.
Those are nice. The C's, actually, these C's are becoming very important in marriage. On my parting shot, I wish to add another C on that. That is the C on communication. And they say that communication is the fuel that keeps any relationship burning. Whenever there is no communication, then the relationship will become cold. And that is what we need in any relationship. So they become 4 C's. And my 4th C is communication. Let people communicate.
Oh yes, every simple aspect. To the worst, to the best, to the biggest, to the smallest. Communicate. So we were glad to have you today with us today. We are very, very, very happy that we're able to discuss, and we know that you will apply all this to be able to come up and have successful relationships. Our fellow presenter Big Ed was not able to be with us today, but he will of course join us next time, and he passes his greetings. We love you all, and we wish you the very best in all your relationships, and it is us, Wema TV, on all social media platforms. Thank you and have a good evening.
Wema TV, the voice of hope.